We're putting four of the baddest, most powerful, street-legal superbikes you can buy, the Aprilia RSV4 factory, Honda CBR1000RR-R, Kawasaki Ninja H2, and Ducati Panigale V4S. But which one truly deserves a spot in your garage? The H2 obviously takes the win when it comes to outright power. It's the only one here with a supercharger after all, cranking out a staggering 231 horsepower. Then you've got the RSV4, which picks up an extra 3 ponies this year, just enough to edge ahead of the Blade. And yeah, even the Panigale. Torque-wise, the H2 leads the pack again, no surprises there, with a massive 141 Nm. Then it's the RSV4, followed by the Panigale, and the Blade sits at the bottom, which isn't really a surprise since it's naturally aspirated and has a smaller displacement. The Panigale flexes a bit when it comes to weight, coming in at just 200 kilograms fully fueled. That's a little lighter than both the Blade and the RSV4, which hover just over the 200 mark. But then you've got the H2, tipping the scales at a hefty 238 kilograms. While the Panigale might not have the most power, it really shows its strength in its lightweight build. It ends up boasting the highest power-to-weight ratio, closely followed by the Blade and RSV4. Unfortunately, the H2 doesn't quite make it into that elite 1-to-1 power-to-weight ratio club, but with that supercharger giving the H2 a massive boost in both horsepower and torque, the H2 is a straight-line monster. But when it comes to the twisties, its weight and size hold it back, letting a more compact and nimble Panigale, RSV4, and Blade zip past. The H2 and Fireblade both use an inline 4 with a flat plane crank, while the RSV4 and Panigale have V4. Aprilia's V4 has a 65 degrees bank angle and a 180 degrees crank, whereas Panigale has a 90 degrees bank with a 70 degrees crank offset. That setup on the Panigale creates what Ducati calls a twin pulse firing order, where the two left-hand cylinders fire closely together, as do the two right-hand ones, mimicking a V-twin, hence the name twin pulse. As you can see from these graphics, it has a tighter firing interval and longer pause than the RSV4, which explains why the RSV4 sounds closer to a crossplane inline 4, while the Panigale feels more V-twin in both sound and power delivery. The H2 and Fireblade stick with a 1000cc displacement, but Aprilia bumps the RSV4 to 1099cc and Ducati takes the Panigale to 1103cc, hence their bigger power outputs. Compression ratios are high everywhere except on the supercharged H2, which is deliberately lowered so it can safely handle the high boost from the supercharger without grenading itself. Valve trains are conventional double overhead cam with spring-actuated 4 valves per cylinder, except Ducati, which uses its signature desmodromic system. Power goes to the rear wheel through a 6-speed gearbox with a slip-in assist clutch. Beyond that, each manufacturer has its own tricks to increase performance. Ducati adds a counter-rotating crankshaft that spins opposite the wheels to reduce gyroscopic effect, and it also gets rear cylinder deactivation. That shuts off 2 cylinders under your seats at idle or very low speeds. The H2 boasts a centrifugal supercharger that's gear-driven to feed more compressed air, as more air means more fuel to burn, which increases power. And on the Fireblade, Honda has a semi-cam gear train system that adds an extra gear above the crankshaft, so the cam chain can be shorter, allowing it to rev higher. Now, let's hear how those engines sound. All 4 come packed with state-of-the-art electronics to help you tame that 200-plus horsepower. You get cornering ABS, 6-axis IMU, ride-by-wire, riding modes, traction control, engine brake control, launch control, and bidirectional quick shifter. They all comes with wheelie control, though on the H2, it's tied to traction control. Same with slide control, they all have it, but on the H2 and the Blade, you can't adjust it individually. Cruise control only comes standard on the RSV4, and the Blade's the only one with a keyless system, mainly because its ram air setup takes up so much space, they didn't have room for a traditional ignition. All four have TFT displays, but only the RSV4 and H2 fitted with built-in multimedia as standard. And on top of that, the RSV4 also gets GPS, lap trigger, and a pit lane limiter, all as standard. So yeah, I'd say the RSV4 takes the win here, with Aprilia generously including all the extra accessories packed that are usually optional. The RSV4, Blade, and Panigale all use aluminum perimeter frames, while the H2 sticks with a steel trellis, one of the reasons it's quite a bit heavier than the others. Up front, the Blade and Panigale get the latest electronically fully adjustable Öhlins Smart EC 3.0 semi-active forks, while the RSV4 still runs the older 2.0 setup. The H2 keeps it old school with regular, fully adjustable KYB forks. No electronics here. At the rear, all four bikes use Öhlins TTX shocks, but again, the H2 doesn't get the semi-active version. As for braking, the Panigale and RSV4 lead with the newest top-spec Brembo hyper calipers, while the Blade and H2 are fitted with Styline. Tire sizes are pretty much the same across all four bikes. The RSV4 and Panigale get forged aluminum wheels, while the H2 and Fireblade come with cast aluminum ones. Fuel capacity goes to the RSV4 with the biggest tank in the group. As for dimensions, the Panigale, due to its V4 layout, has the longest wheelbase, while the H2 and Blade with their inline 4, and the RSV4 with its narrower 65-degree V4 engine, are a bit more compact. Seat height is lowest on the H2 and highest on the Panigale. And when it comes to price, the V4S sits at the top at $33,895, followed by the H2 at $32,700. Then the Blade at $28,999, with the RSV4 factory being the most budget-friendly at $26,499. On paper, the RSV4 looks like the best bang-for-buck option here. It's the most powerful, naturally aspirated bike in the bunch, and while it won't quite match the H2's brute force in a straight line, it's lighter, sharper, and would absolutely leave it behind on a twisty track. You're also getting proper top-shelf kit, like semi-active Öhlins suspension, Brembo's hyper calipers, forged wheels, and comes with the most complete electronics packages as standard. And don't forget all of it for just $26 grand. That undercuts every single one of its rivals.